All right. So this evening, we're going to have a couple of guided visualizations from a book by a Dominican nun named Marlene Halpin. These were visualizations first taught, first time I heard about them, Namja Rinpoche gave them as exercises on a retreat in Baja, Mexico, in the 80s. And the first two, and they're very short, by the way, and the first two exercises that he gave, we'll do. And so we'll just, they don't take very long. We'll create a break in the middle for you to turn this off and go discuss it. Hopefully with somebody. You can do these. They're really good if you do them with another person or with any age group. So with children, and then you can talk about how people filled in the blanks in these things, what things popped up for people, what were the kinds of experiences people had. And then you can do them again later because they change. We've done them
numbers of times.
Yeah, and they always get something different. I don't think I've ever had the same kinds of things come up anytime I've done them.
And it changes with circumstances you're in.
Yeah, exactly. What are the things you've been through? Yeah, to change that. Yeah, it sounds a bit maybe mysterious, but once you do one with us, you'll see what we mean about how what they're like, and they kind of illuminate what your inner life is like, and what some of the signposts are. So each of these exercises starts with, and we'll do them in English today, and then either tomorrow or the next day we'll do them in French. And Jane will lead them, and then I'll get to be here quietly, follow along, right? Hopefully. And Tut, wherever Tut is, he's sleeping somewhere. He's not going to join us, I guess, tonight.
But we'll see.
We'll see.
As things progress.
Yeah, he might decide to come and interrupt. So these exercises always kind of have the same kind of format. They say, make yourself comfortable, remove your glasses and shoes. If you can do this sitting in a chair or lying on the couch. You don't have to be in meditation posture. And then it says, attend to your breathing, let other thoughts come as they will, acknowledge them, and then let them go. And allow yourself to breathe slowly and smoothly. So the first of these visualizations is called the wise person. So we're going to do this one now. So picture yourself out in the country on a lovely summer day. So again, you can be in a relaxed posture. You can close your eyes and relax, and we'll just walk you through it.
Though.
Yeah.
Would it be also something to try if you were to help concentrate? You could even, if you're lying down, put a scarf or put something over your eyes so you can get a sense of the image.
Sure. Yeah, that's a good idea. For some people, that would be helpful. Yeah, so picture yourself on a nice summer day out in the countryside. You're on your own, and you feel pretty good. And you see a path, a well-defined path, just to your right, and it goes out into some trees. So you decide to take a walk following this path. It's pleasant in the woods. There are the usual sounds, birds and insects. A rabbit runs across your path. Sunlight, 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 sunlight and you continue to walk on the winding path. A clearing comes into view. It's rather sunny, and you walk out into the clearing, and you see a tree in the center of the clearing. And walk to that tree. Now, as you arrive at the tree, there's a log on its side, dry and raised off to one side of the tree, and there's someone sitting on the log. Somehow you know that this is indeed a wise person. With some delight, you approach this person and stand there for a moment. The person beckons to you to be seated on the log next to them. So you do. After some silence, you turn to the wise person and you ask something that's been on your mind. What do you ask? There is silence again, and then the wise person turns to you and answers. What is the answer? Remembering that anything is possible in imagination, you begin gently to experience a change. And while you remain seated on the log, you realize you have also become the wise person. As the wise person, you look at yourself seated next to you. How do you feel about you? Do you say anything to you? If so, what do you say? Now you are back to being entirely you, and the wise person is back. You look intently at each other. What happens? Now, bid the wise person goodbye. Get up from the log. You leave the tree in the clearing. Walk across, back toward the forest. Find the path. Re-enter the woods. And walk back toward where you started. When you're there, come back to this room, the room you're in. You can sit or stand slowly, stretch, yawn if you like. And that's the end of that first visualization. So this is the 10-minute mark. We're going to stop here. We're going to just take a few seconds break. But if you have someone to talk this over with, then you would chat about what came up, and they would tell you what came up for them and share a bit about it. If you like, I'll just follow. She says a couple things here. Um, she asks some questions. What was it like when you were walking in the woods? Um, when you saw the wise person, was it someone you recognized or not? Sometimes the wise person changes during the visualization. Did that happen? Um, Occasionally, the wise person may be some important figure, spiritual leader or mentor. Sometimes people are surprised that the wise person is completely unknown to them. Um, it's important also, as she says, to ask what the feeling was like when you first encountered the wise person. How did you feel? Oh, of course, there are the questions about what you asked and what was answered. And then with the change, how did you feel as the wise person? How did that change once you realized you were the wise person looking at yourself? Um, she emphasizes that the feeling tone is important. For those of you who've studied Gendlin, Eugene Gendlin's work, um, he has a very important book on Let Your Body Interpret Your Dreams. Um, there's the felt sense, is what he uses as his key term, I think. And that seems to be what's informing these kinds of questions. Kind of get a feeling of a texture or a tangible.
There's something that sets in the body,
right.
that tells you when the answers come to you.
Mm.
There's a feeling, recognition.
Right, there's like an aha feeling when you know you've got it. Yeah. So she asks what the feeling tone is, particularly of being the wise person. And she warns that people's responses can be quite varied, and that there can be some people have feelings of sadness, and some are feel very happy or tranquil. So it's there's no particular expected outcome. There's no way to do this exercise the right way, or to
It's
do
always the right way.
Yeah, yeah.
And it will change even in doing the exercise from one time to the next. It could change for the same person. It may have different feelings.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. So she also concludes by saying, looking back over the whole guided visualization, what impressions do you have of it? So that's the end of that exercise. So we'll do the next guided visualization now. And although we're doing them back to back,
You pause and give yourself a time.
Yeah, you might even do these days apart because they can be loaded with material.
And it's good to give time. If you're doing it in the day, see what happens at night in the dreams. Get a feel for it the next day. What does it change in even in your encounters or in how your reactions, your interactions are? Sometimes things come up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting to look at it from that point of view.
Yeah, sometimes this material, working with meditation experience or dream experience, guided visualization experience, it can be a bit like, if you've ever been on one of those whale watching trips and the whale dives under the boat in one direction and everybody runs to the other side with their cameras thinking it's going to come up here. And about 30 seconds later, it comes up way over there. So you can't tell where these things are going to go. good to have some space between
Not do
exercises.
one after the other
Yeah.
necessarily.
Yeah. Um, so at this point, we'll do the next exercise. And as you said, hopefully you've given yourself a gap between them. In this exercise, the next and the last, this is the last guided visualization. This particular time we have together tonight is called the store. So, as she says, find a comfortable place to sit or lie down. Take off your glasses and take your shoes off. Take a few deep breaths. And as you do, let the activities of the day kind of recede, let go. And when thoughts come up, there's no need to fight with them. You just see them, acknowledge them, and then gently return to the silence of your breathing. Now imagine yourself in a store. It's a pleasant store. It's not crowded, it's comfortable, and you decide to wander up and down the aisles. And you find all sorts of things that you like as you walk up and down the aisles, not in any particular order, but all very appealing to you. So just imagine you're walking up and down the aisles and you're looking at things. Now, as you walk around, you begin to notice a remarkable difference in this store. Not only are there objects on the shelves, but there are also qualities, values, and principles also on the shelves. Perhaps they're there in a symbolic form. There's some object that represents them, but you have the conviction that you could select any of these qualities, values, or principles that you wanted, and it really is there on the shelf somewhere in this store. So imagine you go looking for that now, walking the store looking for that. You found a particular quality or principle or value. You see something on the shelf that draws you. You decide you're going to select it. You pick the one thing that you have wanted in your life very much. What do you select? Now look at what you've chosen. Examine it carefully. Is it really the important thing in your life right now? If not, you have time to replace it and select something else that you want even more. Now, take your one important choice to the front of the store. Near the door, the owner of the store is waiting for you. You show the owner what you wish to take. The storekeeper looks at your purchase carefully, looks at you carefully, and now tells you what it will cost. For the first time, you notice that there's no cash register. What the store owner tells you as a cost is something very precious to you. So, what is demanded as the price of your selection? And how do you respond to this cost? So now we let this fantasy fade. The store dissolves. You're in the room you're in. Come back to this time and place. You can stretch, yawn if you feel like it. And how do you feel? She asks here, using your feeling of right now as an indicator, what did you learn about yourself for this exercise? And she says, I encourage you to share this uh, guided visualization with a family member or a friend who knows you and cares about you. It's very likely that a conversation with someone like that can help you understand it even more fully. So, like the previous exercise, we leave some space and you can turn this off and discuss it, hopefully, with someone. Uh, Before we end, for those who are interested, I'll just go through some of the questions she asks of people who do this when she's with them. Um, One, she asks, "How did it? How did you deal with finding what you really wanted? Did you decide to put the object back?" There he is, speaking the devil. Hello. Um, and how did you deal with the issue of the cost? Some people decide there isn't a cost, or they're not going to pay the cost, or they'll take it without uh, dealing with that. Um, she points out that this exercise is helpful for bringing to the surface certain values, um, helping one be realistic about what one aspires to. We have another reader here. Um, she also says that, hey, buddy, she says it's this practice or exercise can be, she calls it realistic in terms of the price required for the thing that you're picking. Um, she says you may find that you're actually quite realistic about the effort or the price required to have this quality. Um, and she points out that many of the people she does the exercise with find the price difficult or scary. Um, they may be willing to pay it, but they find themselves saying bit by bit, or I can't do it all at once. Most people, in her experience, are satisfied with the resolution of the exercise. Um, there aren't that many, although she says some people she's done this with do have indecision, but it seems to be the minority. Anyway, those are a few of her observations about this particular practice. There goes the phone. We're going to end this now and get the call. Okay? Hope that was helpful. Bye for now. I'm not even sure where my phone is.
I hear it not far. It's on the table. On the...
Yeah, it's behind.
Oh, wow.
It's Nick.
Oh, wow. There you go.
So,
you can tell them Tina can check in on the...
yeah.
They'll love the Let's Pretend.